The previous video showed you how to write section 8, which was the literature review and rational study. Now we'll talk about section 9, which is talking about your methodology, another very important part of your proposal. Mr. Shavla.
Hello, Chris.
I've been working on the aims and objective. I've been working on section 8. I'm very happy with what I've come up with. I think I followed the 5 different elements of section 8 quite closely based on our last discussion.
Sure.
Now I want to start section 9. I remember you talking about the soundest onion and following what I've learned in 3rd year in IRP, but can you quickly guide me through exactly what I need to achieve in that section?
Sure. Your section 9 in the proposal and chapter 3 in the final piece of work is going to be a methodology chapter. And this is the chapter where you will try to establish the entire process of your research, where you'll explain to the reader what different steps, what different stages were there as far as your study is concerned, and why did you do those steps in the way that you did in the first place.
Okay.
So this is a very, very important chapter for your study, and we would recommend that you follow Saunders' Research Onion to try and structure your chapter well.
Okay.
So the logic of Research Onion is, as you can see on the image here as well, is that you start from the outermost layer of the onion, which talks about your research philosophy or your epistemology. And then you work your way in from there. You come as far as the last layer of the onion, but I'm going to talk more about that a bit later on.
Okay.
But what's important is that you are able to define and explain and justify the methodological choices that you're going to make as you go along each of the layers of the onion. It's like peeling any other onion. You start from the outermost layer, you peel one, and then you move further to the other layers of the onion. What we do expect to see in your methodology is not that you discuss every single choice that's available. So if you're talking about epistemology, for an example, and as you've learned in the past as well, there are 3 big choices you've got out there. You could be a positivist, you could be an interpretivist, or you could be a realist. You only need to speak about the one choice that you're going to make. So what's important is, if you say that I'm going to adopt a positivist approach, then why is it that this is most suitable for you? Your justification, your explanation, along with the definition of this epistemology, and that is what you will do for the other layers of the onion as well.
Okay, so if I understand you well, I need to state my choices at each of the layer.
Absolutely.
So we have the research philosophy, then we have the research approach, then after that we have the research strategy, and then finally the time horizon of our research. And the center of the onion is the research instruments.
Absolutely. And those will go into section 14 of the proposal.
The last part.
The last part will go into section 14 of your proposal, but that will be explained in another video as well.
Okay. All right. So I only have, it is actually very similar to section 8. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sections where I need to explain my choices.
Absolutely.
All right. So if I were to, for example, decide to use a traditional choice and decide to be a realist, which I think is what I want to do with this research, so I just need to state what realism is with a definition, and then after that coming up with justification of why I want to use realism.
Absolutely.
And then
how do you plan to apply that?
How do I plan to apply my research? Right.
Why is it the most appropriate epistemological position as far as your study goes?
And then I move to the next section.
Absolutely.
Right?
And the same thing in here as well, the different layers of the onion. You might even want to create subsections in your chapter also, because that will give very nice structure. And if you're saying that I'm going to be a positivist, for an example, then your examiner is automatically assuming that you'll probably adopt a deductive approach. You'll have a very structured, very quantitative methodology. So those are the other things that we're looking for as well, is how coherent is it? Have you made rational choices, and do they link to one another?
Should I follow those rational choices again, or can I be very creative in going through my onion?
Of course, you have some flexibility in there, but those are exceptions rather than the rule. So unless you're an expert researcher, I would say you can by all means follow the tradition.
It's my first dissertation, so
you can then definitely you should follow the traditional choices, and you can't then go off on a tangent.
Right. I think it's. I need to read again a little bit more about what all of them mean. So it means that I'm looking at a realist philosophy, a combined approach, case study, strategy, and I'm looking at mixed methods, and finally looking as well at terms of, like, I think I'm going to be a short time, right? I only
Sure.
have 24 weeks.
Absolutely.
So kind of a cross-sectional time horizon. All right. So I state my choices and then I explain them, justify them, show how I want to apply them.
Absolutely. That's the objective of the entire chapter.
Do I need references as well in this section?
Yes, absolutely. You will need to reference. I think Saunders is a very good text that you can rely your methodology on. But again, maybe one text is not going to be sufficient. There are some very, very good texts available in the library as well. There is Zimkun, for an example. There's Kumar. There's Brahman and Bell. All of these are very, very useful texts as far as defending or supporting your methodology goes.
So I need to defend my choices, including that. All right. No, Saunders is good, but I should have more than just Saunders.
I would say so.
All right.
Yes, at least 3 or 4 different textbooks on research methodologies only.
Right, perfect. Thank you. As always, my friend is doing his IBP, and he likes to ask me questions because I see you regularly. Methodology, does he have to do the same as me as well, or it is a bit different?
There's a little bit of a difference in this chapter. The first 2 layers of the onion, the philosophy and the research approach, they're not that applicable to the IBP students. And the reason for that being is it's a lot more practical, real world, applied kind of research, and therefore these abstract discussions are not needed that much in the IBP. So typically an IBP methodology will start from the 3rd layer of the onion, where you start discussing your own research strategies. So in that sense, you'll find that the IBP methodology will typically be a lot shorter compared to the ones for dissertations.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you very much again.
So that was short and easy, just to justify and explain how to do your section 9. Following video, we'll talk about ethical choice, and then the video after that, we'll talk about sampling population and your research instruments.